Welcome to today's edition of Mental Health Matters. Today, we're going to be talking about migration. I have Fatuma on the show today. She's going to share her experience coming from her country to America. Get you something to drink, get you a snack, and come on back. Good morning, Fatuma. How are you doing today?
Hey, good morning, Jay. How are you?
I'm all right. You know, every time I get to say your name, I always think of the name Fatima, but it's Fatuma. And because I have a friend
Same
named
name.
Fatima. It's about
It's the same. It's the
it's the
same
same.
name. It's just variations. Yeah, different countries have variations on the name.
Yeah.
It's yeah. So, but it's the same name.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
Yeah, exactly the
So
same.
before we get started, why don't you just tell a little bit about yourself, and then we're gonna jump right into it.
Well, what's there to tell, really? I'm just what kind of information you want to know? Because
Well, where you from?
I'm a South African.
Okay.
Um, Born and raised, native. Yeah, and um, actually tomorrow I'm going to be 58 years old.
Oh, wow, that's good to know. I didn't know tomorrow's your birthday. The 4th.
I actually didn't even know too. My brother just called me this morning. I'm like, what?
Also, you don't keep up with the dates, I'm assuming.
No, I don't keep up with birthdays and dates and stuff. I just live every day as it goes.
I know somebody else. I have a friend like that as well. Like she
Yeah,
does it. She doesn't even celebrate birthdays. Okay, that's good to know, Fatuma. That's good
yeah,
to know.
yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
So yeah, that's it.
So, Fatuma, how long have you been here in the United States?
As of the 2nd of March, I've been here for 2 years.
Okay. Wow, that's a pretty long time. And is this your first time traveling to another country, or have you did traveling before you came here to the United States?
No, no, I've always traveled. I've traveled to so many different parts of the world,
Oh,
and I've traveled to the US. I had traveled to the US twice before this time when I got to stay.
okay. So this your
Yeah,
second time coming here. What was the
yeah.
first country you ever traveled to, and were you nervous? Were you scared when you did your first traveling out of Africa?
No, oh, you mean the first time out of Africa? I had
Yeah.
traveled within Africa.
Okay.
The first country I ever traveled to out of Africa was in Belgium.
Wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
in Belgium. Yeah, I couldn't even speak any of the languages, and I was a young girl, a total rebel during those days.
Yeah.
And yeah, so I had made like a bit of money, and I said, you know what? I'm still young. Let me travel.
Yeah. Wow.
I
So
have
go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I had friends who love traveling, and we'd say, okay, let's travel to such and such a place, and then they would give you a person's number, say, oh, contact so and so for maybe like to help as a tourist guide or for a place to stay, depending on what the situation was. So I traveled. I went to Belgium for a week, and yeah, I liked it. And then I went to England and I went, oh God, I've gone to so many places around the world.
Wow. So what made you want to travel like that meaning different countries outside of Africa? What made you want to, be one of those people that travel and experience the world?
I grew up during apartheid, and apartheid was really not a very ideal situation. We were very restricted, and we had to be confined to like uh, certain areas and spaces because of the Group Areas Act. And I've always been like a very independent person, a person who wants to explore, a person who wants to do so many different things. And I had no idea what the world was about. I just knew I wanted to be out there.
Wow. Wow. And so you just finally, after all your traveling to different countries, you decide to come here to America and just migrate here and make this your home. Is that
Well,
safe
yeah,
to say?
the migration part came as a total accident, which I'm not going to go into,
Okay.
because it's a legal issue. Um, uh, the migration, the visiting part, yes, but the migration part was like totally um, out of my control.
Okay.
But yeah, but I came here and then obviously things happened that were totally out of my control, and I got offered an opportunity to stay here.
Okay. Okay.
Yes, and
So,
it was basically on. I had to stay here on legal grounds. The
okay.
police they give you like a special certificate where they ask immigration if you can stay here for legal purposes.
Okay.
It's not because I'm living here because I woke up and I said, oh, okay, I'm going to live in America. It was on legal grounds. Yeah.
Okay. So when whatever situation happened, and you don't have to share, when that situation happened, when you realize that, oh, I have an opportunity to stay, and you make that choice, how did that make you feel in terms of knowing that you was gonna make this your permanent home instead of going back to where you was originally born at?
It was tough. It was tough because, like, immediately, when the legal situation started, there were so many changes in like such a short space of time, and I wasn't like in a good mental space,
Mm-hmm.
to agree, but I had to think very fast because in the beginning I was like, oh no, 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 I want to go back home. I want to go back home. And they were like, no, we have to investigate this case, da
Right.
da da. And so I said, oh, okay, fine. I'm gonna stay. But staying was so difficult for the first 5 months because I didn't know how to live here. I knew how to visit here.
Yeah.
You know,
Wow.
you visit, you have the budget, you have the people welcoming you, and you just enjoy your 3 weeks, 1 month, or however long you want to stay, and then you go back home within the
Yeah.
constraints of your visa. You know,
Yeah.
so I didn't know how to stay here,
Yeah.
and also, staying here meant I had to deal with immigration
Mm.
um, internally, and I didn't know how to do that. I had to like study so much about immigration and what's required, what's oh god, it just became like a whole thing. But finally, I got the hang of it. Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's good. I mean, I'm really glad that you were able to grab your bearings and be able to navigate, because that's got to be tough coming from
It
one
was.
country to another one, and learning how to live here instead of visiting here, because that is a difference. You
Yeah.
know.
It was very, very tough. It was.
Yeah.
But after like 6 months, I realized, what, I made the correct decision by staying and also, helping the police, chase on with my case,
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah.
Okay. So Fatuma, what was so challenging um within those 6 months, that period of time when you were trying to get acclimated or used to living here? What were some of the challenges and things that you experienced?
I think the one of the most challenging was having to depend on people,
Mm-hmm.
for my livelihood, because of my visa restraints, I wasn't allowed to work.
Yeah.
And yeah, that was tough, not knowing whether you're coming or you're going. You need to be reliant on people. Yes, people were very, very helpful, and they came out of, different uh, places to help. But
Yeah.
for me, as an independent person, it was very difficult not to be responsible for my own well-being. Yeah.
And because I don't know honestly a lot about the visas and migration is,
Yeah.
anything
It's
like that.
complicated. It's very, very, it's a very complicated thing. Um, you, it that's why I would advise everybody who has any intention of emigrating to the US or having to deal with immigration to study on it. Not
Yeah.
just read on it, but study.
Yeah.
And also, the most important thing, speak to legal experts,
Yeah.
speak to attorneys, get their advice. This is not a DIY thing, you know. Immigration is very complex,
Yeah.
and you also have to be careful. Always be open with how you deal with immigration,
Yeah.
and also at the same time not lock yourself into a situation that would backfire in the future. Because
Yeah.
I've seen a lot of immigrants in short of time who did things and then lock themselves into a situation that backfired.
Yeah. I actually like the advice you're giving, Fatuma, because I think sometimes, America has a reputation. Somebody phone is going off. I don't know whose it is. Uh, it's who's that?
Wait, I think the sound has gone a bit.
Oh, okay. Um,
Yeah.
America. Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. America has a reputation of being like the land of opportunities, for lack of a better term. And so you get a lot of
Yes.
people who wants to come to America, opposed to maybe other countries. And so and people just don't know. They just like, oh, I want to go to America. I'm gonna get this opportunity, I'm gonna go to school, whatever it may be, and get here and not really know the process, the hoops and hurdles that they have to go through in order to, stay here or be here for an extended period of time. And so what would you say to people? I know you just kind of spoke on this too, but what would you say to people who gets here and America may not be what they think it is, and potentially may want to leave, sooner than later?
Yeah, America is multifaceted. There's so many, there's varied opportunities. It's got both good and bad.
Yeah.
And people, they only want to come here for the good. So I think if you are an immigrant and you're out there and you want to come in there, you need to be to know why you're coming here,
Mm-hmm.
and to know how long you're coming here for.
Yeah.
Because like personally, I don't think that I'm gonna stay here forever.
Yeah.
Because I have a home. You
Yeah.
know, I have a home and I love that home. It's just that I've got myself into this um, uh, situation, this legal situation where I have to assist.
Yeah.
And but after a certain period, obviously, I'm gonna go back home. You
Yeah.
know, so you have to decide what is it you're coming to America for, how long you're going to be coming here for, and what is it that you're going to be coming here to do.
Yeah.
And a lot of people come here because they think, oh, this is the land of milk and honey,
Uh-huh.
and I'm going to milk it as much as I can and get my honey.
Uh-huh.
And with disregard to what's happening to the local people, the services, the public services,
Yeah.
and you're coming into a country that already has people living here,
Yeah.
and um, there's a lot of boundaries and a lot of respect, and a lot of things that you have to learn, and personally, I come from a country where we have like 12 uh, official languages. So I speak a lot of languages, fluently. And when I came here in America, I realized that, being able to speak and communicate properly in English is very, very important.
Mhm.
And you have to polish on your English speaking ability.
Yeah.
And people are very sticky on that. I've had people who are very sensitive with the fact that most foreigners, they come here and they don't even want to learn English.
Mhm.
uh, that's important to the country. You practice that. The
Yeah.
country is very strict on people not committing violations. You have to be very strict on that. I mean, when I came here in California, remember, you couldn't jaywalk.
Mhm.
It was illegal to jaywalk. And
Yeah.
I didn't even know what jaywalking was because, in
Yeah.
Africa, you cross everywhere on the road. You cross anywhere and anyhow.
Yeah.
And so, you had to learn. I had to learn those things. So, it, it's not what people think it is, that you just come in, you get a job, you work, you get rich, you live a flashy life. No, you
Yeah.
have to put a lot of education into the
Mhm.
country. You have to put a lot of hard work. You have to make sure that you respect people, you don't step on their toes.
Mhm.
Especially now that the immigration issue is so highlighted. People are very sensitive about immigration and immigrants.
Yeah.
So you have to respect, you have to watch the news, talk to people, see how they feel. This is a borrowed country. This is not my country. So
Yeah.
I have to uh, respect. In my country, I have to respect.
Yeah.
But it's my country. I know everything about my country. But
Yeah.
here I have to learn everything. So I have to have the patience to sit and learn. Yeah.
Yeah. The other day I was called an Uber, and this guy, I think he was from Sri Lanka, I think somewhere around one of those countries. And obviously you could hear it in his accent and stuff. And so I was talking to him as he was giving me a drive. And he was maybe about 22, 23. And he just recently got here. And he was telling me that he was in school and things like that. And his major is English, and he was just telling me how he was struggling and things like that. I actually brought you up too. And I was telling him about I have a friend, Fatuma, and she's from Africa. And he was just sharing me about some of his struggles being here. And he talked about how he didn't know it was going to be this difficult. When he was back in his country, he had all these ideas about how he was going to come here. He was going to go to school. He's going to major in English, but he was saying he never thought about the roadblocks that was going to present itself, you know. And my heart went out to him, you know, because you could tell he was one that really, you know, is really trying. But I also can tell that there are some challenges, and he shared a few, a little bit, that he seemed a little bit discouraged, you know, a little bit, you know, to me. So for people like us that grew up here in America, and for those who are immigrants and migrating to this country, we don't necessarily share you guys' same experience, because this is totally out of your realm, so to speak, because you got somewhere else that you was born, you know. So Fatuma, tell me, how has migration changed you?
Um, I think personally, coming to the US, especially at this time, um, made me realize how um, all human beings have the same problems, you
Yes.
know, and how all countries have the same problems. It's just how they deal with the problem that differs.
Yeah.
You know, like for instance, the immigration issue. The immigration issue is not an American. It's not an isolated American problem. You know,
Yeah.
the influx of immigrants. I mean, like for instance, I come from South Africa, and the majority of Africans want to come to South Africa. They have the South African dream. You know, apparently South Africa is the land of milk and honey for the rest of Africa. So a lot of immigrants have influxed into South Africa, and basically destroyed some of the infrastructure, you know, with the not the influx not regulated. I mean, the same problem that America is now facing, we've been facing that for more than 30 years, you know.
Wow.
And what actually amazes me is that whenever America is faced with a global issue, they normally rarely, you know, other countries to come together, and they do like a powwow
Yeah.
together with other countries. But with this immigration issue, they've kind of like, you know, made it their own battle. You know,
Yeah.
immigration is an international thing, especially the influx of uh, uh, you know, disenfranchised people, people running away from wars, poverty. And so this is a global issue. I think no one country should be responsible for immigration. You know,
Yeah.
it should be something that is a roundtable thing. So that's it's kind of like open my eyes to that, you know, to
Yeah.
say, okay, how do we globally deal with the immigration issue, whether it's immigration into Spain, into Europe, whether it's into Bangladesh, or whether it's in South Africa, you know. So currently, you know, that kind of like opened my eyes to other things that, you know, I wasn't aware of, like the fact that immigration is not an isolated like event.
Yeah. Yeah. I used to work with a lady. She's an immigrant. I think she's Hmong. I think she's Hmong. I want to say she's Hmong. And I know she has struggled really bad. I think getting her visa, she would have to leave work and, you know, go to these appointments. And then I think when she got, I think they had like if I'm not mistaken, had like a ceremony or something. But it was challenging for her. It was really challenging for her. And she got grown kids and stuff that's in her country. She always talked about, you know, retiring and moving back there, but she haven't done it so far. But you could tell her heart is definitely, you know, with her family in her country. You know, so my heart just go out for, you know, people who have to experience that, because it sounds like it's not an easy process. You said earlier about, I guess in your process they're not, and you don't have to go into details about this, they're not allowing you to work. And it's like I don't understand that. Why? Because to me, I would guess you would want somebody coming from somewhere else to, to come in America, will want to work, get some income. It'll make things a little easier for them. So I don't know why that is being asked of people, not to work, but I mean, clearly I think need to be some changes, on a political level about immigration and stuff like that, because it's a lot. I mean, it's a lot. You see people all the time, which is way above what I know, that's talking about this stuff. Let me ask you another question. Do you know other immigrants, that's here in Sacramento?
I know immigrants, yes, from a whole lot of different countries.
Okay.
I know I come across immigrants basically every single day. But I've never met an immigrant from my country because South Africans don't travel out of South Africa a lot,
Yeah.
It's just
Okay.
something we don't do. Yeah, so I know a lot of immigrants and I know their stories and also, yes, immigrants might cry a lot about, oh, this is so unfair, this is so this is so that.
Yeah.
Immigration has processes that it follows, and they're actually cast in stone.
Yeah.
So if you don't follow those immigration processes, yes, you will have problems. But also now, over and above that, you have the fact that immigration is running at a backlog. Where they're running like years away from the delivery goal. So you also have to consider that. And also, another thing is that immigrants here come here in many different ways, and they're like, oh, I'll fix it when I'm inside.
Right.
And when they come inside, they realize that their situation is unfixable. And
Right.
then they start blaming immigration. The fact that your cousin came here 30 years ago and was able to fix the situation that you are in right now, yeah, that was then. This is now. Immigration is changing every single day. I remember before immigration used to say, "Oh, send us information from your country." They've learned that people fake information.
Right.
The
Right.
immigration will not say, "Oh, give us information." No, 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 no. They go out and they get the information themselves because you
Mm-hmm.
know,
That's
yeah.
exactly right.
So yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting. So what are some of the commonalities with the other immigrants that you personally talked to? What do you guys have in common in terms of, successes, or in terms of roadblocks, or in terms of, things affecting your mental health? Like, what are some of the commonalities that people have thrown out there that you can identify with?
Um, I think the commonalities would be the fact that we we come from a different culture.
Yeah.
From Americans all have the same culture, and we come from a totally different culture.
Okay.
That's what we have in common with 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 Americans. But I found that for some reason, I've made a lot of friends with Russian people.
Yeah.
And I found that we have a lot in common with
Yeah.
Russian people. I don't know. South Africa and Russia. I found when I communicate to Russian people, they know where I'm coming from. You
Right.
know, I don't understand how, and some of the friends that I've made or that I have right now are from Russia.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you just never know. That's why they say you need to walk a mile from your house, and there's a whole world waiting for you. You
Yeah.
know. And yeah, it kind of like opens your mind. You think you are open-minded, and it opens your mind even more.
Yeah.
There's a lot of other, things that immigrants are currently facing right now, especially me as an immigrant, like the fact that, the different migrant status that immigration has allocated. You have illegal immigrants, you have undocumented, you have documented, you have like varied labels given to immigrants. And I found that those are just thrown around,
Yeah.
or willy-nilly. Oh, you are from South Africa, you are an illegal immigrant. No,
Yeah. Yeah.
no. I have a case that's currently being attended to by immigration.
Yeah.
Does that make me an illegal immigrant? Does that make me undocumented? I am documented. The US knows who I am. I have been fingerprinted. They have my photograph. So I do have, some form of documentation.
Yeah.
I'm not undocumented. I'm not illegal. I didn't come here illegally. Uh, you know, Immigration knows who I am. So, the terms that they use, I think they should be very careful about, what they say, because the people outside of media and the people like locally, they use those terms, to kind of like profile people.
Right. Right.
And that I know what my situation is, and I don't need somebody criminalizing my being in the US. I
Right.
didn't come here as a criminal. I have
Right.
no intentions of being a criminal. I want to be a law-abiding person
Yeah.
and respect the law, respect everybody.
Yeah.
And I have no intention of screwing immigration over, or taking anybody's resources, or taking anybody's anything. Yeah.
I want to ask you one more question before cause we got about like a minute left. Do you or have you sensed there's a difference with other immigrants outside of being in the African American community? Do you sense a difference, the way people treat them, look at them, and talk to them, opposed to you being a African woman?
I think I don't know if it's I don't know what it is, but I feel that there's like a border, like a divide between the Africans from here, the African Americans,
Yeah.
and the Africans that have just come in.
Okay.
It's like there's there's this, I don't know, that's my sense, that
Yeah.
it's like,
Okay.
hey, we are not the same. We
Yeah.
might look the same, we
Uh-huh.
might all be black,
Yeah.
but you are from Africa
Yeah.
and I am from here.
Yeah.
I have, yeah, there's that sense with some, not all. Some of them are very welcoming. Oh, my African sister, the motherland, I would love to go to the motherland. Oh, I'm so happy, da da da. But then there's another group, it's not every African American. There's another group that like, hey, you and I are totally different.
Interesting.
We might look the same, but we caught the boat at different times, so don't even go there,
Yeah.
So there's differences. I guess it's like it's the people,
Mm-hmm.
and you get people who are like, oh, my African sister, welcome, yeah. So
Okay.
it's different. It's not like the same everywhere. Whereas when you look at the media is on a different tangent,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, Fatuma, thank you so much. We've run out of time. As you know, the shows go super quick when you're having fun and when you're having a very informative discussion. So you always share really good information. I really appreciate that because a lot of stuff I don't know or didn't know, especially with immigration and migration. You definitely have enlightened me on some things. So once again, thank you so much. And I hope that you enjoy your birthday tomorrow. I'm actually going to reach
Oh,
out to
thank you.
you. So, yeah, I like celebrating people's birthdays. So, you're going to definitely hear from me. Yeah, so enjoy the rest of your day.
I will. Thank you so much and have a wonderful day.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
Okay, bye.
All right. That's it for this edition of Mental Health Matters. If you enjoyed this particular show, if you would like to be a guest on our show, or if you would like a DVD copy of this show, please dial 916 366 4600. Thank you.